Now I know what you're thinking. Yes. Yes, that is a hot dog pillow. Now, with that out of the way, welcome to another Write With Me Wednesday. I'm Miriam, an independent author and co-founder of Tea Time Tales, a cozy space for creators to come and relax, enjoy human-made creations, and connect with each other. Today we're talking about how to write the big bad. So grab your favorite hot drink and let's get started. That's good. First, we need to examine these villains' core characteristics, learning from example, breaking them down so we can understand them. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen these movies, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you may want to skip ahead. Ozai, Fire Lord from Avatar: Last Airbender. Ozai is a very iconic character. If we look at his backstory, he uses his wife and usurps the Fire Nation throne. He's really cruel. He burns his own son and banishes him at like 13. He raises a monster named Zula, and ultimately he wants to use the power from the 100-year comet to obliterate and destroy the world and then rebuild it in his own image. He is the epitome of greed, wanting power, power hungry. What's more synonyms for that? I don't know. And in the end is defeated by his power being stripped from him, that being his bending. Number 2, the Eye of Sauron, Lord of the Rings. Now, Sauron is very interesting because he doesn't have a body almost the entire time he's even ever spoken about. It's just the Eye of Sauron, in the tower watching, wanting his ring back, wanting his power back. He's very iconic because every time he's even mentioned or like the dark tongue is spoken, it gets all cloudy and it's like, all scary and dark. People are terrified of him because of his reputation. And even the environment reacts to that. However, he is perpetually stuck in a powerless state. Yes, the ring is evil, tempts people and can control them to a degree. However, Sauron cannot directly just, take over their body. So, he is both powerful, wanting his power back, and powerless at the same time. Number 3, Darth Vader from Star Wars. Now, I will preface this by saying, I'm not a Star Wars mega nerd, so if I am a little not politically correct in my terminology, forgive me, you can fight it out in the comments. He is a little bit different from the other two I just mentioned because he had a long wind up before Anakin turned fully to the dark side. His big turning point, though, is definitely when he unalived his wife, Padme. You see, I memorized everything. When he unalived his wife, Padme, and then fought Obi-Wan Kenobi. Even after the battle and after he has the suit on, he still doesn't realize that he killed her. And then he's like, no! And he just keeps going further down the dark side. I believe that was his turning point. Nonetheless, he's done for. Yet, in the very end of his life, he ends up actually saving Luke, defying Palpatine, the one who made him in the first place. Now, let's look at some common traits between these iconic big bads. First off, they're blatantly evil. They're not hiding their evilness. They just are who they are, going for their goal. Anakin is a bit of a gray area. Okay, he had a wound up, but I'm talking about once he's Darth Vader, he's obviously evil. Full send. Each of them wants to control, to have power, and dominate over their area, region, world, whichever. They each have open displays of cruelty. This is a little harder to see in Sauron's case because he doesn't have a body. But the madness that the ring influences somebody with, in of itself, is cruelty. And you can also take his minions. I forgot the name. What's their name? The Dark Lords, the dead but not dead, that stabs Frodo. Forgot their name. They are doing the will of Sauron, and that is an example of his cruelty. With Firelord, example of cruelty. Zuko getting banished. That was a big ouch. Lastly, with Darth Vader, he has more than one example. But let's take remembering her name again. Padme. However, we're going to look at Palpatine's death. Padme. Palpatine? Oh my gosh, why can't I get her name right? Padme's death is just so sad. Chief cruelty there. How to make your own big bad. The steps for these, using the commonalities I have, establishes basic motivation and goal. You'll see this is a common trait. It's the basis of making any character, but with a big bad. The ultimate big bad needs ultimate goals, okay? His ambition needs to fit just how big he is and powerful. Give them some space to shine and show their raw nature, whether that's cruelty, maliciousness. What is their raw nature? But remember, there needs to be a reason behind it. It can be as petty as can be, but if they are being evil and cruel for literally no reason, come on, like who can relate to that? When you show the real colors, it can be as petty as possible, but that character, the big bad, needs a reason to do what he's doing, even if it's for pure entertainment. Because if that is not present, then you have a shell of a character instead of something that is flesh and blood. And lastly, the villain is defeated by what he believes in. Let's look at the Fire Lord. Like I said, he gets his bending taken away. His power that was gonna rule the world was taken away, and he got powerless. Darth Vader. Well, he died for what he believed in because he's protected Luke. And it was just very interesting, honestly. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, and so I'm not well versed on all of the lore, but it just was so opposite. It seemed like he's evil, and I know his love for Padme kind of drove him to the dark side and everything, but then he just turns around and saves Luke, dying in the process. It's just like, what? But that's what he believed in the end. Finally, the Iron Sauron. Now, he almost got his power back, but his power ends up getting destroyed. Almost the exact same thing that happened to the Fire Lord, though Sauron, he didn't get thrown into prison. He poofed in a very dramatic fashion. Now, here's my example of that framework. King Vanmar, ruler of the Dark Lands, is searching for the lost tear fragments that, when united, allows the wielder to make their nightmares tangible. When his daughter enters his study without permission and he discovers her, he binds a shroud of darkness over her eyes and forces her to walk around blind and in silence until it dispels in 7 days. The only exception to this is she can still hear his voice. This is what he calls her learning her lesson, displaying of cruelty and nature. The one to unite the tear fragments is his daughter, who uses it to suspend them in a dream realm. They battle, but in the end, every terror he ever used on someone else are the ones to destroy him. Ah, yes, poetic justice. So that's all I have for you guys today. When we take the most iconic bad guys out there, big bads, and we break them down to the most simple commonalities, they're really not that complex, but it's execution. Execution is what makes the difference, all the difference in storytelling. So I hope that was helpful to you. And as a matter of fact, if you're looking to write more villains, different stereotypes, commonalities, I made a whole video about it right here. So go ahead and click on it. Lots of good information for you. I'm going to be doing some more videos on this topic. If you have questions, let me know in the comments so you can make your big bad. Get out there and get creative.